Hi. Now in today's class we will go through the properties of ionic compounds or properties of electrovalent compounds, right? So let's just quickly see how the formation of ionic compounds took place when electrons were transferred from a metal atom to a non-metal atom, right? So metal atom, due to deficiency of electrons, will acquire a positive charge, right? And non-metal atom that gained the electron transferred from the metal atom will acquire a negative charge, right, due to excess of electrons. So let's take an example: sodium chloride. Sodium chloride has 1 electron in the outermost shell. Chlorine has 7 electrons, right? So sodium will transfer one of its valence electron to chlorine, right? So that both can have 8 electrons and they can achieve stability. So on losing electron, this sodium ion will change into sodium atom will change into sodium ion, and chlorine atom will change into chloride ion due to excess of electrons. Now we understood that both these, right, these are oppositely charged ions, so they have electrostatic force of attraction between them, right? So both these will form electrovalent compound sodium chloride, right? And when sodium chloride get formed, when both sodium and chloride ions will combine due to high electrostatic force of attraction, energy known as lattice energy would be released, right? Lattice energy will be released, right? So during the formation of ionic compound, lattice energy is released. And this, if you look at the structure of sodium chloride, we have done this in solid state. This sodium chloride structure consists of a lattice, right? And in this lattice, or if you look at the proper geometry of sodium chloride, each sodium ion is surrounded by 6 chloride ions, and each chloride ion is surrounded by 6 sodium ions, right? Like this. If this is a sodium ion, positive sodium ion, it would be surrounded by negative chloride ion. Similarly, negative chloride ion would be surrounded by positive sodium ion, right? And due to this, right, since this sodium ion, and the structure tells us that each sodium ion is surrounded by 6 chloride ion, and each chloride ion is surrounded by 6 sodium ions, and that's the coordination number, if you remember what we did in solid state, right? So this sodium ion is attracting the negative ion, the chloride ion, from every possible direction. Similarly, this chloride ion is attracting the positive sodium ion from every possible direction, right? Due to this, the bond that gets formed in this compound sodium chloride is non-directional, right? So the bond between sodium chloride is non-directional. Why we say it non-directional? Non-directional means there is no specific direction of the bond between sodium and chloride. If I just talk about this compound sodium chloride, and as I said here, that this sodium ion is attracting the negative ion from every possible direction. There is no such direction, so this is non-directional. Similarly, chloride ion is attracting positive sodium ion from every possible direction. So since there is no specific direction, so this ionic bond is, in general we say that ionic or electrovalent bond is non-directional in nature, right? Now 2-3 things are clear, that when this compound is formed, lattice energy is released, right? And when this compound is formed, this compound gets formed, sodium chloride, due to high electrostatic force of attraction between sodium ion and chloride ion, right? So remember that there is high electrostatic force of attraction between these oppositely charged ions, right? Due to which it has many properties. Many properties of sodium chloride is due to this high electrostatic force of attraction, right? So the first is, they are hard, right? They are hard again due to high electrostatic force of attraction. They are hard, they have high density, since I said that the electrostatic force of attraction is high, right, between positive and negative ions, the electrostatic force of attraction is high, due to which these ions are fixed in their position, right? These ions are fixed in position, right? These ions are fixed in position and they are immobile, right? Two things important. Due to high electrostatic force of attraction between positive and negative ions, they are fixed in position and they are immobile, right? Since in the crystal lattice every sodium ion is being attracted by neighboring chloride ions, right? Similarly, every chloride ion has neighboring sodium ions, right? So since there is high force of attraction, so these ions are fixed in their position and are immobile, right? And since the force of attraction is high, these ions are close to one another, very close to one another, due to which the empty space, there is no such empty space between these ions, right? Since there is no empty space, so the density is high for ionic compounds. Because there is no empty space, these ions are attracting one another from every possible direction, right? So no empty space means they have high density, right? And they have high melting points and boiling points. Why they have high melting and boiling points? Again, due to high electrostatic force of attraction. Since they have high electrostatic force of attraction, so high energy or high heat energy needs to be given in order to separate these ions, in order to separate positive and negative ions from the crystal lattice or from the compound sodium chloride, right? So it's simple, high melting and boiling point, because high energy needs to be given to separate the positive and negative ions from the crystal lattice of sodium chloride or any ionic compound, right? And they have low volatility. Right? They are less volatile. Why? Again, because the constituent particles of sodium chloride, right, they have high force of attraction. Since these constituent particles have high force of attraction, so they will not easily escape, they will not easily evaporate, right? Now second is they are soluble in polar solvents. Polar solvents like water, and insoluble in non-polar solvents, right? Now let's see the reason what makes ionic compounds soluble in polar solvents, right, like water, but insoluble in non-polar solvents like benzene. If this is the crystal lattice, one thing we know, that if you add sodium chloride in water, we know that common salt, which is sodium chloride, is soluble in water, and when you add sodium chloride in water, it will dissociate into sodium ion and chloride ion, right? Since sodium chloride, right, when added to water dissociates into sodium and chloride ions, right? So this sodium chloride is soluble in water because it can dissociate in water into sodium and chloride ions. Now let's see how it gets dissociated into sodium and chloride ion. And what this basically means is, when we say that it dissociates into sodium and chloride ions, it means, since we said that sodium chloride has a crystal lattice, right, and this crystal lattice consists of sodium positive sodium ion and negative chloride ions, right? So when you dissolve this sodium chloride in water, basically this crystal lattice is broken down, right? And ions from this crystal lattice will move into water, right? Will start floating into water. So in order for any electrovalent compound to be soluble in water, right, this crystal lattice needs to be broken. Water needs to break this crystal lattice into its constituent ions, right? Now let's see how water can break the crystal lattice, but benzene cannot break the crystal lattice. What is the reason behind this? Right? We know one thing, that like dissolves like. Like dissolves like. This means that polar solvent will dissolve polar solute and non-polar solvent will dissolve non-polar solute. Right? Here water we know is a polar solvent. Right? Why we say it's a polar solvent? Because it has two poles, positive pole and negative pole. It is a dipolar molecule. Right? It is somewhat like this. If you look at the water, plus minus, it has these kind of poles, right? Now let's see how water will break this crystal lattice into its constituent ions. If this is the crystal lattice, you see the ions which are in the middle are attracted by other ions from all the directions, right? So but the ions that are at the surface of the crystal lattice, these ions, right, these are not attracted by oppositely charged ions from this direction or from this direction or from this direction. So these ions have unbalanced forces. Like if you look at this ions, this is attracted by other oppositely charged ions from all the four directions, but it is not so with this ion. This ion is only attracted by ions which are inside the crystal lattice, these ions. From this side there are no ions, so these ions are not attracted by any ion from this side, that these ions are at the surface. So the surface ions will interact with water, or water will interact with these surface ions, right, and will break water will interact with these surface ions and will bring these surface ion into water. Right, now let's see how it will do. If this is the crystal lattice, since I said that water will interact with ions which are at the surface, since I said water is like this. It has positive end and negative end. The positive end is due to hydrogen and negative end is due to oxygen. Like this, right? So positive hydrogen will interact with negative chloride ions if this is the lattice of sodium chloride, right? So these negative ions will interact with the positive hydrogen ions, right? Similarly, these positive ions will interact with negative oxygen end. Now we don't say these as ions. What we say for the water is, since water is dipolar, it has positive and negative end. So positive ions in the crystal lattice will interact with negative end of water, and negative ions will interact with the positive end of water, or the positive dipole of water and the negative dipole of water. So positive and negative dipoles of water will interact with positive and negative ions in the crystal lattice, right? So when positive and negative end of water will interact with positive and negative ions in the crystal lattice, they will pull these ions out of this crystal lattice, right? So these ions will get pulled. Right, these ions will get pulled by water molecule, right? The positive and negative end of water molecule, and this is your dipole. right? This is how. And this ion is also again be pulled by water molecule into its solution, right? These ions will get pulled into water, right? Through ion. This type of interaction is known as ion dipole interaction, right? Ion, we call it ion dipole interaction. Ion of crystal lattice and dipole of water, right? So due to water and this sodium chloride interaction, we call this interaction as ion dipole interaction. Ions of lattice and dipole of water. So due to ion dipole interaction, these positive and negative ions will come into water, right? These positive, or we say the crystal lattice will break due to ion dipole interaction, right? Crystal lattice breaks, right, due to ion dipole interaction, right? Now when this lattice will break, right, some energy needs to be given. Since here when this lattice got formed, right, here when this lattice got formed, this energy known as lattice energy was released, right? Now in order to break this lattice, we need to give energy equal to lattice energy, right? So in order to break this crystal lattice, to break the crystal lattice, energy equal to lattice energy needs to be given. Right? Energy equal to lattice energy needs to be given. Right? Now, one thing that you need to consider here is, or need to understand here is, when these ions will come into water, right? Now, these are sodium ions, right? And these are chloride ions. Now, when these ions will come into water from this crystal lattice, right? I said that water is dipolar in nature, the negative end of water molecule will surround the positive ions, and the positive end of water molecule will surround the negative ion. And we know the positive end is hydrogen, negative end is oxygen, right? This is known as, when water molecule will surround these positive and negative ions, this is known as your solvation of ions, right? And since we have taken water, solvent is water, so we call this as hydration of ions, right? This is known as hydration of ion. So here, when these ions, right, are broken, or when this lattice is broken into ions, energy is given. Energy equal to lattice energy was given, right? And when these ions in water get surrounded by these ions, right, when these ions get hydrated, right, when they are surrounded by water molecules, energy is released. We call this energy as hydration energy. So here, during solvation of ions, just write it. During solvation of ions, energy is released. We call this energy as hydration energy or solvation energy, right? This is your hydration energy and this is your lattice energy. Now, in order for this crystal of sodium chloride to dissolve in water, this hydration energy should be greater than lattice energy, right? If hydration energy is greater than lattice energy, then only this electrovalent compound will dissolve in water, right? Otherwise it will not dissolve in water, because this hydrogen energy, the hydrogen energy that gets released, right, will continue dissolving this crystal lattice of sodium chloride, right? Now there are certain salts like silver chloride or lead sulfate, right? Silver sulfate, these are insoluble in water or very less soluble in water. What could be the reason? Right, since I said that silver chloride or lead sulfate or silver sulfate, these are insoluble or very less soluble in water. Why? Because in these cases this hydration energy is less than your lattice energy, right? So that is the reason, these, since hydration energy is less than lattice energy, so water would not be able to break the crystal lattice of lead sulfate or silver sulfate or whichever salt is. If salt is not soluble in water, basically its lattice energy is less compared to the hydration energy, right? That is the reason it could not break the lattice. Basically, to break the lattice we need lattice energy, right? And in this case, the energy in this dissolution process, the energy to break this lattice would be provided by hydration, right? Hydration of ions, because when these ions got hydrated, energy was released called as hydration energy, right? Now for this salt to dissolve in water, this hydrogen energy should be greater than lattice energy, right? Now the case is, since this hydrogen energy is greater than lattice energy, so this hydrogen energy can break this crystal lattice. But if this hydrogen energy is less than the lattice energy, that means lattice energy is not available, hydrogen energy is less than lattice energy, right? So this hydrogen energy, which is less than lattice energy, in case of lead sulfate, would not be able to break the crystal lattice of lead sulfate into ions. Because the first thing that I said in this lecture is, in order to dissolve any electrovalent compound, we need to bring these ions in solution, right? And in order to bring these ions in water solution, in water we need to break these ions, right, by breaking these crystal lattice, right? So when this crystal lattice is broken down, these ions come into solution. But here, in case of lead sulfate, the crystal lattice cannot be broken down because hydrogen energy is less than lattice energy, since we need at least energy equal to lattice energy to break this crystal lattice, and this energy is provided by hydrogen energy or by the hydration of ions. So here hydrogen energy is less than lattice energy, so the crystal lattice of lead sulfate would not be broken down into lead and sulfate ions, hence lead sulfate is insoluble in water, right? Now I said that organic solvents cannot dissolve these electrovalent compounds. Why? Because organic solvents does not contain these dipoles, right? Since organic solvents does not contain these dipoles, so they would not be able to interact with the positive and negative ions of the crystal lattice. Hence, it will not be able to break the crystal lattice. Because if you look at this, the crystal lattice was broken down because these opposite dipoles, positive and negative dipoles, could interact the positive and negative ions, right? And they can bring these ions in water. But if there are no such ions means there is no interaction with the positive and negative ions of this crystal lattice. Hence, this lattice would not be broken down, due to which organic solvents could not dissolve these electrovalent compounds, right? As simple as that. So I hope this is clear. Now, this another important property is Another important property is that electrovalent compounds are good conductors of electricity in aqueous state and in molten state, but they are bad conductor of electricity. They do not conduct electricity in solid state, right? So electrovalent compounds are good conductors in aqueous state, that is in water solution, or in molten state, right? But are bad conductors in solid state. This is very simple to understand. They are good conductors. By good conductors we mean good conductors of electricity. Right now, in order to conduct electricity, we need mobile ions, right? Because if electricity is flowing, flow of electricity is nothing but flow of electric charge, right? Here, electric charge in case of electrovalent compounds is what we have: positive charge and negative charge in electrovalent compounds. So these charges needs to be mobile. If these charges are mobile, then only this electrovalent compound will conduct electricity, right? So in solid state, we know that this solid crystal lattice have these sodium and chloride, have these positive and negative ions, which may be sodium and chloride if we are taking sodium chloride lattice. These ions, or these positive and negative ions, are fixed in position due to high electrostatic force of attraction and are immobile, right? Since they are not mobile in solid state, so it cannot conduct electricity, because we need mobile ions for electric conduction, right? So they are bad conductor in solid state. In solid state, no mobile ions, right? Due to which they are bad conductors of electricity. Now in aqueous state or in molten state, let's see how we have mobile ions. We have seen here that water could break the crystal lattice into positive and negative ions, right? What water will do, water has high dielectric constant, right? Due to high dielectric constant, and here these ions are fixed in position and are immobile because of the high force of attraction because of the high electrostatic force of attraction between positive and negative ion, right? One thing we have seen here, how water can break this crystal lattice into positive and negative ions. When it has broken down this into positive and negative ions, now these ions are mobile, right? In other way, what we say is, water has a property called as dielectric constant, right? And this dielectric constant can break this electrostatic force of attraction between positive and negative ions. Once this electrostatic force of attraction is broken down, these ions will become mobile, right? Now we have mobile ions. Once we have mobile ions, electric conduction will take place, right? Similarly, if you heat sodium chloride, we said in molten state also electrovalent compounds are good conductors of electricity. If you heat sodium chloride, when you give high heat energy, the heat energy will cut off the high electrostatic force of attraction between sodium and chloride ions. Now heat energy is also doing the same thing. It's removing the electrostatic force of attraction between these ions. Once the electrostatic force of attraction is broken down by the heat energy, these ions will become mobile. Now we have mobile ions in both the cases, so these are good conductors of electricity due to mobile ions, right? In aqueous state or in molten state, because in both aqueous and molten state now we have mobile ions. So if this is the solution, we have mobile sodium and chloride ions. So when you pass electricity, if you know electrolysis, these sodium ions will move towards cathode, chloride ions will move towards anodes. Now since they are moving, so electric conduction is possible.